Today's video, I just wanted to share a quick exercise that you can do to practice 1 point perspective, and it's something that you don't have to commit too much time to or too much effort or brain power to. It's something that you can kind of do. Maybe if you're just doodling on a sheet of paper, or if you just want to just have a quick 5-minute practice. The first thing we can do here, and again, this works if you're on a sheet of paper, if you're on Photoshop, Procreate, doesn't matter. We want to get in a bunch of squares on this scene. So just draw as many squares and rectangles as you think would be a good fit. You don't want to do too many of them, but just get maybe like a dozen or so on the page. And again, they can be any size, any length, as long as they're rectangles or squares, it doesn't matter too much. All right, so once you feel like you have enough squares and rectangles on the canvas, then what we can do is get in a 1-point perspective grid. So there's a few ways you can do this. I'll cover the traditional way first. So if you're using pencil and paper, you can get in a horizon line. So just draw a straight horizontal line on the canvas. So just draw it kind of lightly here, for example. And this could be anywhere. So if you wanted it to be down here, you could have drawn it down there. It will affect how your boxes look whenever we go and draw these boxes, but either way, you're going to get the same practice, so it doesn't matter necessarily where you put it. I'll just put it about here for this one. And then what we can do is somewhere along this horizon line, we want to get in a vanishing point. And since this is just 1-point perspective, all we need is just one vanishing point. And so the vanishing point, for those who don't know, is just a point along this horizon line where all of these boxes are going to end up receding to eventually. So all the three-dimensional lines are going to end up eventually receding to that. So I'll just put it right here. I could have put it over here if I wanted to, could have put it over here, it doesn't matter. As long as it's along this line, I'll just put it here though. So then what we need to do is you can grab a ruler or some straight edge surface and just get in a bunch of lines that radiate out from this point. So I would just draw them in like this. Okay, you could keep doing this and get as many lines as you can fit in here. As long as they're radiating out from the vanishing point, then your grid should work well. So something like this is what it could look like. And of course, if you're using traditional, you may want to draw it lighter so you can see the squares underneath. So in this case, I can just turn down the opacity. Maybe you want to erase it out a little bit, but either way, that's the manual way to do it. It would take a little bit longer. What you can do if you're in Procreate is just turn on the drawing guide here and go to edit drawing guide, tap on perspective, and then we can just tap anywhere on the screen. I'll just tap here and we get that same grid in immediately without having to draw in everything. So it just saves us a little bit of time. And if you're on Photoshop, you can do something very similar by just drawing in a horizon line and then using the star tool and radiating out the vanishing point from there, and it's also relatively quick. But the point is to get in a horizon line like this and a vanishing point. What we can then do is start to draw these boxes. So right now they're just squares and rectangles, but we want to make these boxes and give them three-dimensionality. I'll start with this one at the top right. What I want to do is on these three corners of this box, I want to draw a line that's going to recede back to this vanishing point. So for example, on this corner up here, I want this line to come out, and the further back we go, the longer this rectangle or this box is going to be in perspective. So I'll have this one come out to maybe like right here, and then we'll go straight up and down, and then this point here will eventually need to meet up with this corner. And you can see that they're following the grid lines, so they're going back into space like this. And similarly, this one's going to do the same thing. And you can follow these grid lines to almost guide you back to where the line should recede to. And so we'll have this line come back, and it may cut through this box here. That's okay. That's why I'm drawing this line pretty lightly. And then we want to connect this part with this part here. So we'll just draw this straight until we connect the box, and then we can erase the edge if we need to. And so now we have one box in perspective, and we'll just do the same thing for every one of these. Like this one here, we'll just have this come out to about here, and then we can just erase off the edges if we need to. And yeah, now we have two boxes in perspective. And so what you want to do is just do this for every single square and rectangle that you have. So for example, this one here, we can do the same thing. Just draw in this box. We'll do another one here. You may need to softly draw through some of these boxes so you can see where the lines are going. If you have boxes that overlap, like I did right here, and then you can always just later on erase those parts out. So yeah, I'll go through all these and just keep on getting these boxes in perspective. So this could be a great practice if you just do one of these a day whenever you have some free time. If you're trying to practice perspective and you don't want to commit to a full scene or a full drawing or painting or anything, doing something like this only takes 5, 10, 15 minutes, and it's a great way to still actively practice perspective without having to get too complicated into like a whole new drawing or something like that. It's just something you can do on a sheet of paper and not be too committed to it. It could be used as a warm-up or just something that you can do every day. Hopefully, if you do it consistently enough, you will see improvements and you will start to get more comfortable with not only boxes in perspective, but just how things relate to each other in perspective. You'll be more comfortable getting in vanishing points and horizon lines. And for example, if we was to do another sheet, you could try to move this vanishing point somewhere down here. You can move it up here and then try to draw in boxes in relation to those different points. So that way you'll have a whole wide variety of practice that you've done where your vanishing point is at the top left of the canvas, it's at the bottom of the canvas. And you know what it looks like to have boxes in perspective in relation to those different vanishing points and those different horizon lines. Give it a try and see how it goes, and hopefully you will find that it's a good, easy practice that you can do on a daily basis. So as usual, I appreciate everybody watching. If you're interested in any content or free brushes or anything like that, check out my Patreon page. I'll put a link in the description. But again, thank you for the time and have fun practicing perspective.